Sorry, I had the mic muted. What's up, everybody? Welcome into ADZ Sports Dallas Primetime. I am your host, Mauricio Rodriguez, streaming with you live every Sunday through Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central here on Dallas On Demand Sports Talk Network with a lot more content coming your way throughout the season. Make sure that you check out adcsports.com/Dallas. And as always, remember that Primetime is brought to you by our friends over at Freeman Mazda net. We will talk more about them and the ride of the week in a few moments here on the show. First things first, obviously, I want to apologize for the delay. We're going live a little bit late here. I think everyone knows the reason why. The Monday night scene, a very scary one with the Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals game being postponed temporarily after a scary hit on Damar Hamlin, the safety for the Buffalo Bills, and a very scary scene afterwards. The game is still temporarily postponed. We don't know much about the status for Damar Hamlin. There are some early reports out there that indicate that he might, and I say might just because this is not a confirmed report or anything like that, but just to give you an update as to what people are saying on social media. And this is specifically a Fox 19 reporter indicating that Damar Hamlin has a pulse, but is not breathing on his own. I do want to clarify, I have not seen many other reports on this, but, just a tough scene. And I do want to say before we start the show that, prayers for Hamlin, or if, depending on what your belief is, if you believe in a higher power, if you don't believe in a higher power, positive thoughts headed Damar Hamlin's ways, or prayers. Really, really difficult to go ahead, go live, and do a show, right? But the philosophy behind going live for sure is to maybe provide you with a distraction, or not a distraction, but just try to do the best show possible here. And I do want to say before we start the show and start talking some Cowboys football, I do want to say that I think the NFL should not play this game. And I am a very logical person. I like logic-based results and decisions. But I think this is one of those spots in which you should throw logic by the wayside, man, and figure it out later. Like, I don't know what the answer is if you don't play the game tonight. I don't know how you go about things, if you play the game later or not, what it means for the playoff seating. I think that you make the decision first, the human decision first, because those players on the field, they are humans, even though, they're not normal like us, because they're superhumans. They're athletic freaks that do things that none of us can do. But I will say that you need to make the human decision first. You need to go ahead and not play the game, and then figure out what the decision is afterwards. For now, the game is temporarily suspended. Once more, I will say this. It was an intense scene as Sean McDermott and Zach Taylor walked towards each other. In the TV broadcast, we were able to see that. And, they both met near the Bill sideline, and they both made the decision apparently to go into the locker room. So the game is right now, that's the status. It's suspended. We don't have any official information of Damar Hamlin. If there's anything that comes out during the show, I will make sure to stop whatever we're talking about and maybe, give you an update. And in the meantime, let's try to have the best show possible. Don't want this to, come off as tone deaf, because that's not the intention at all. Believe me that here on ADC Sports, we're also, shook by the situation and scared and worried about Hamlin. But we also want to provide you with some quality NFL content. And of course, if I can be a distraction in a scary moment like this one, I will try to be in a positive way, not in an ignore what's happening kind of way. But you know exactly what I mean, I think. Anyways, thank you everyone for tuning in. I see your comments in the show. I agree. Prayers for Demar Hamlin. Positive thoughts headed his way. If whatever your belief system is. But yeah, I do see in the comments that there is some questions about whether or not what's his status. We don't know anything. There's been no confirmation of his death or anything like that, because I do see that in the comments, and I do think that it is my obligation to say that that has not been reported yet. So I do want to make that clear before we move on with the show. Let me say that really quickly. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Welcome into ADC Sports Dallas Primetime once more. I do apologize for the delay. We were just trying to figure things out, figure out what was the best way to go forward. And tonight on the show, as you can see from the title of the video, the topic is, and I know it's tough to transition into the topic. So, let's just wait on the updates. Let's just wait on whatever happens. Let's try to talk some Cowboys football. And once more, I do want to say this is not me being tone deaf or anything like that. I'm just trying to give you a distraction if that is possible, and try to have a, as best of a time as we can under the current circumstances. So let's try to do that. Let me just see here. So your notification popped up. Let me see if, no, okay. Not an update. Just wanted to make sure. The title of the video, ladies and gentlemen, Cowboys injury update means more than meets the eye, because today we had a couple of injury updates for the Dallas Cowboys. And one of them is interesting. One of them is really interesting. Leighton Vander Esch not going to play versus the Commanders. I'll kind of, switch up the topics here a little bit quickly and go through the Leighton Vander Esch one really quickly. LVE not playing versus the Commanders. I think that is a smart decision by the Cowboys. I think it is unsurprising. Seems like he is ready to go, but the Cowboys really don't need him to play. So just take it easy with your linebacker. Hold him until the wild card round. If you do play in the wild card, which is definitely the most likely scenario for the Cowboys right now. But there's one injury update that will fly under the radar a little bit, and I think that it can be a huge deal for the Cowboys in the wildcard round. And I don't know about you. This might be me just interpreting whatever is happening with the Cowboys injuries right now. I don't know if you have noticed the same thing as I have. But I think that the tone by the Cowboys is really different between what they're talking about with LVE, what they're talking about with Jonathan Hankins. They sound confident that they will be back in the playoffs, in the wildcard round. I don't think that's the case with Tyler Viadish right now. I think that they're hoping that Viadish comes back for the wildcard round, while they are expecting Hankins and LVE to come back, if that makes sense. And I think that alone makes the recent Cowboys injury update even more important. And that injury update is the fact that Matt Farniok's practice window has been activated. And as you know, Farniok is a interior offensive line by the Cowboys that can play some center. He played guard earlier in the season when the Cowboys were trying to figure out left guard with Tyler Smith manning the left tackle position. And then Farniok suffers a hamstring injury in October. Ironically, in the Commanders game, has been, away from the practice field all this time. Now he gets his practice window activated. That means that he has 21 days to be activated to the 53-man roster. Otherwise, he would go on IR again, and that would end his season. And I think that it is a big deal. That is a big, big update for the Cowboys, because what if Tyler Viadish really can't go for you in the wildcard round? And I think that there are a couple of potential offensive line combinations for the Cowboys, and we will take a look at them right now. Actually, there are two offensive line combinations for the Dallas Cowboys in a world in which Viadish can't go. So maybe, let's say, this even includes Week 18 in a scenario in which Matt Farniok is activated. the number one offensive line combination, and that is the one that we saw versus the Titans on Thursday when Viadic went down. You saw Jason Peters take over at left tackle. Now, I colored 71's number in red because, and that would be Jason Peters, because he's a backup, right? And then I had Tyler Smith at left guard in yellow because he's a starter, but he is out of position. The same for Connor McGovern, who had to slid inside and play some center. Remember that McGovern isn't a stranger to the position. He played the position when he was at Penn State, who, by the way, Penn State beat the Utah Utes in the Rose Bowl in a not such an epic game earlier today. It was more of a blowout by Penn State after Utah's quarterback got injured and had to exit the game. Zach Martin, right guard where he belongs, and then Tyron Smith over at right tackle. That is an offensive line that has only one guy where he belongs, and that would be Zach Martin. Your other four players are not where they belong, and one of them is a backup. That is the number one possible offensive line combination. The second offensive line combination that we could talk about is way better, because let me finish this thought and then let me get you an update from Monday Night Football. If Matt Farniok comes back and maybe he can play week 18 and maybe he can play in the wildcard round in a scenario in which Tyler Viadic isn't able to play, then you have your players, most of them, where they should be. You're just making a change at center. Now, that is a big deal. That is definitely a big deal. But at least you're not moving everyone around. Okay, so here we go. Maybe I wanna wait till I see it in more reporters' accounts. But it does appear that the game is not going to be played anymore, and that is the right call by the NFL. By the way, let me just read to you this tweet from Fox. This is Fox 19. Where is it? Jeremy Rauch from Cincinnati, sports reporter in Cincinnati for Fox. He tweeted out on ESPN broadcast, you can see Zach Taylor and Sean McDermott talking on a phone and meeting with officials. Just ended the call and shook hands. Equipment staff now packing things up. So it does appear that the NFL won't play the game. Yep, they're picking up gear in the sideline. Teresa Walker also tweeted this from who covers the Titans. So it does appear that the game won't be played. That is definitely the right call by the NFL, man. And as I said earlier on the show, for those of you who are tuning in, let me make a small parenthesis here. You cannot play that game. I don't know if you can play it tomorrow or the day after tomorrow or maybe the next week, or maybe you can make a lot of different decisions. And even though I'm a very logic-based person, I think this is a scenario where logic really doesn't matter. I think this is a scenario in which you care about the person's first, and that goes beyond, obviously, Damar Hamlin himself. It goes for the players that were obviously devastated because they're humans. And you need to take care of that first, in my opinion. You cannot have them play a game today. So it does appear that the game has been suspended. And who knows what the decision is afterwards. Who knows if they, suspend the game, if they play tomorrow night, if they played a week from now. I don't know what is going to happen. And honestly, at this point, I don't think that we should care too much about playoff seeding. This is the game that we love. This is the game that we tune into every time we get the chance. But right now, oh, it's a very different scenario, very different scene for most of us. I don't think that players had ever experienced something like that. I don't think that coaches had ever experienced something like that. Us as fans, us as, for example, content creators talking in front of a microphone and a camera in these kind of situations. It is very sad. It is very scary. It is very, what's the word? Uncomfortable, because it's one of those things that it's definitely bigger than football, obviously. But you get these situations in which this is the game like that we love and that we watch, and then things like this can happen. Not saying that this is the same as other head injuries or things like that, but rather a scary scene and the ugly side of football. So right now, seems like the coaches originally were the ones that had to step in and had to say, we're not playing right now. And then that ultimately led to the NFL calling the game, or at least suspending it for today. Who knows what will happen? Who knows if they will play it tomorrow night, if they will play it later, if they won't play it at all. Very, very scary scene, and definitely something that is very new to all of us. Lumen says, confused is a good word, Mo. Yeah, confused is definitely a good word. Very, very tough stuff right now. I concur, says Asmodeus. Prayers for that young man and his family, says APJ. Cheryl says, very sad. You never want this to happen to anyone. Holly says, crazy that I feel like that dude was my little brother. The ESPN broadcast cut to the studio when they figured out that it was going to take a while to get back into playing. And the NFL figured that out. ESPN, figured that out, and they cut to that studio with Adam Schefter, Booger McFarland, and Booger was, honestly, they were handling pretty well. They were handling it as well as you can under that circumstance. And Booger made an excellent point, saying, we talk about breaking bones, like we even talk about concussions, but when you're talking life and death, and you're talking about that level of a situation, it is entirely different. And Booger was making the point, I've never lived this, because one of the questions was by one of the hosts, and I cannot remember her name right now, was, I've never seen players cry that way, openly cry on the sidelines. And Booger was like, well, this is very different. John Graham says, what took place? For those of you who maybe, just got out of work or something like that, and just picked up your phone, just tuned into the TV, very scary scene on tonight's Monday Night Football game. Damar Hamlin takes a hit, goes to the ground, a safety for the Bills, stands up, and then goes to the ground again. Stretcher comes out. They take him out in an ambulance. CPR was involved. They try to give him CPR twice. And we really have no further update on, what will happen with Damar Hamlin. Very scary scene. The game has been suspended since then. It's been about an hour since that took place originally. And I am trying to really go through my Twitter feed and see what, if there are any updates on this. The broadcast, by the way, by ESPN has announced it officially. The game is officially suspended for this evening. I'm not sure that this note makes any sort of difference, but here goes. Only the NFL commissioner can't suspend the game according to the NFL rulebook. But at the end of the day, the players can simply not play and the coaches can have their teams not play. And I think that we should recognize that Sean McDermott and Zach Taylor did the right thing tonight by stepping in and saying, we're going to the locker room, because that appeared to be the case. There are some rumors out there, and I say rumors because I have not seen like Adam Schefter or Ian Rappaport report this. There are some rumors that, and we saw them warm up in the broadcast too. We saw them warm up, and some say that it is because the NFL asked them to play. But then Zach Taylor and Sean McDermott were like, no, we're not doing that. This is a statement by the NFL Players Association. The NFLPA and everyone in our community is praying for Damar Hamlin. We have been in touch with Bills and Bengals players and with the NFL. The only thing that matters at this moment is Damar's health and well-being. That is right. That is definitely true. Honestly, that was the only decision to be made. And anyone who's talking about playoff seeding and how much this game matters in the AFC playoff picture, everyone who's talking about that, I'm not even going to say that, oh, you shouldn't be doing that and you're insensitive. Maybe we haven't even processed it. We haven't even processed what we saw tonight. The only thing that matters right now is Damar Hamlin, the status of Damar Hamlin, his family and their well-being, and his Buffalo Bills family, because you saw the players' reaction to the whole thing. We saw Josh Allen in complete shock, for example. And it's meaningless. I agree with one of the comments in the YouTube chat. It's a meaningless game. Even if it matters a lot for playoff seeding, right now it is a meaningless game. Very, very difficult situation. Okay, the NFL statement has come out on the game. Here it goes. The NFL statement on Bills Bengals. I will read it. Tonight's Buffalo Bills-Cincinnati Bengals game has been postponed after Buffalo Bills' Damar Hamlin collapsed, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell announced. Hamlin received immediate and medical attention on the field by team and independent medical staff and local paramedics. He was then transported to a local hospital where he is in critical condition. Our thoughts are with Damar and the Buffalo Bills. We will provide more information as it becomes available. The NFL has been in constant communication with the NFL Players Association, which is in agreement with postponing the game. Man. Very tough spot. Very tough situation. Adam Sintek, who covers the Buffalo Bills for A2C Sports, just tweeted out, the entire world is with Damar Hamlin. Oof. So that is the situation right now, guys. That is the situation right now. Definitely one that we were not expecting to live tonight. We were all expecting this to be one of the best regular season games ever. But Toxic, I think, was the guy who commented earlier on the show. Life comes at you fast, though, and things that matter come at you fast, too. I have other topics prepared for tonight. I'm kind of torn on whether or not to continue with them, though, because I do want to be respectful, of course, to Damar Hamlin, to Damar Hamlin's family, and to everyone who's dealing with emotions, watching the show and everything. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't think that. Yeah, Lumen, I agree. Lumen says, great comment, Mo. I'm just in shock. Sorry. Oh, no. I don't know if Lumen, if you said something about playoff seating or anything like that, but that's what I mean. Like people on social media are going like, oh, if you're thinking about playoff seating, you're stupid, you're dumb, blah blah blah. I'm not even sure that's the case. I just know that none of us had ever gone through something like this. At least not in the NFL, not watching an NFL game, not being together with family, with friends, sitting down to have a good time. Me, for example, just setting up for prime time and being ready to come on the air and talk to you guys about the NFL. We were just not ready for it, and we are processing it together. So I'm not even going to say like, oh yeah, you're dumb if you're thinking about playoff sitting or anything like that. I'm just saying we're processing it right now, and the reality of the situation is it doesn't freaking matter. The seedings, the games, the playoffs, they don't matter right now. Make the human decision now, which is postpone the game, and the NFL did that, so good for them. And then figure out what you're going to do later. It might not feel right when we know what they're going to do, because unfortunately, this is a very, very cold business. And I'm just saying, let's be ready, not saying that it's right, but let's be ready for them to reach a controversial decision even after the dust settles. We've seen some scary stuff. I think this is different, though. I think this is on another level. So, ultimately, I think we're going to call it short. I think we're not going to get into the secondary topics of tonight. I think that we might postpone Overreaction Monday. I was going to talk about Brian Dable suggesting that he was going to do what's best for his team and maybe not play starters on Sunday. He didn't say that explicitly, but he did change his tone a little bit after saying that starters were going to play on Sunday. Today, he said that he was going to do what's best for the team. And if we are being real, that is maybe rest your starters or have them play for one quarter or a half. I really don't think, Cowboys Nation, I really don't think that the Giants are going to play to win on Sunday. I think that they will play it as a preseason game. So be ready for that. That's what I was going to say in that segment of the show. Also, just a quick update. The Cowboys are going to play at 3:25 p.m. Central, same time as the Giants and the Eagles, and same time as the San Francisco 49ers and the Arizona Cardinals, because those three games have to be played at the same time because of the number one seed and because of the NFC East. That is what I was going to say in all of that segment. So really just wanted to give you the update at the very least, and maybe tomorrow we can, add opinion to the whole thing, and also give you an update on, well, just close out the idea that I was talking about as the central topic of the show. And I want to get to this since it is the topic of the video. And if people click on it, I want them to not be disappointed and not find out that, maybe we didn't finish the idea. So let me finish the big idea and then we can get out of here. Ladies and gentlemen, Cowboys injury update. It means more than meets the eye. Matt Farniok gets his practice window activated. He has 21 days to practice with the team before being activated to the roster. If he is not activated in that period, he goes on IR. His season is finished. But we do know that right now, the 3-week period might not matter as much because we are 2 weeks away from the playoffs. So right now, I think Farniok's practice window activation is more of an insurance policy. And if he is ready to go and Tyler Viotic isn't for the wildcard round, your best offensive line combination might include Matt Farniok, because he was not good at left guard, I know, early in the season, but at least you get some continuity across your offensive line with 4 starters playing where they should be playing. And that would be Tyler at left tackle, Connor McGovern at left guard, Zach Martin at right guard, and Tyron Smith at right tackle. Whereas if you are forced to move Connor McGovern to center, then you're also forced to move Tyler Smith. And you're also forced to put Jason Peters at left tackle, and Jason Peters was not great versus the Titans. So maybe not an ideal situation there. The Cowboys have had a shaky situation at offensive line all season long. And I think that even with starters, they've been a little bit shaky, especially in pass pro. And I think that Dak Prescott deserves some credit for kind of balancing that and making sure that it doesn't really impact what the Cowboys do offensively. So there you go. That was the big idea behind this show. We won't do overreaction Monday. I really don't think that we should. Really wouldn't be comfortable going into, overreaction Monday. And with the Brian Dable thing, I just wanted you to give you the update rather than dive into the opinion, because we want to be as respectful as possible. I hope that by tomorrow night we have some good news, or we have some news on Mr. Hamlin, as Toxic Tom says in the chat. I agree with that. Hopefully we get some positive, news there. And we will keep you informed, of course, on A to Z Sports. Really tough situation, man. And thank you for all of you that tuned in. Thank you for spending tonight here on Prime Time. And really just tough situation. Prayers for the more Hamlin. Positive thoughts and vibes headed his way. Let's see what will happen tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen. Prime Time, as always, brought to you by our friends over at freemanmazda.net. Make sure that you check out the ride of the week, the 2022 Mazda CX-30 Premium over at freemanmazda.net, a family-owned business for over 65 years. And remember that when you choose Freeman Mazda, you're choosing a lifelong partnership with your car dealer. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into ADC Sports Dallas Prime Time. Sorry for starting the show a little bit late. Sorry if you saw me maybe go through it during the show in a logical way once more, kind of thinking out loud with you as the feelings and thoughts came into my mind. And I think that the NFL made the right decision by deciding to postpone the game and suspend it. I think that's the right call. We'll see what the update is tomorrow morning, because we are likely getting one early tomorrow, I would say. Toxic Tom says, Mo, don't be sorry. It's your show. I appreciate it. And yeah, you're right. I'm not sorry because I'm not, I will never be sorry for showing some emotion on the show. I think that is definitely 100% valid. And definitely not in the mood to go into the final two topics as we would on a regular Monday. Thank you, everyone, for joining the show. I appreciate you. And, man, one more thing that I will say before we tune out. Damn, tell the people that you love them, that you love them. Tell the people that you love them. It is definitely a time to reflect, I would say. Definitely so. Thank you, everyone, for joining the show. I will see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central. Be safe, and we'll talk more tomorrow. Bye-bye.